Hello, headphone mixers. My name is Paul Third, and that man across from me is my good friend Emrah Celik, an award-winning mixing mastering engineer with over 3 billion streams to his name, with over 90% of those coming from mixing on headphones. This is the video that you've all been waiting for. This is the video that I've been waiting for, because we all know I do have a controversial few bones in my body. And, sometimes I like to let out, the controversial Paul Third out of his cage every so often. But, I'm not doing this out of malice. This is genuinely just to help the audio community, because I do believe that there is a lot of hype and there's a lot of stereotypes over certain headphones, and that's just due to many people not really having a lot of understanding or research into mixing on headphones professionally, and some brands have been able to wriggle their way into the audio engineering circles. Okay. Remember, all of this does come, with a pinch of salt, but me and Emrah are going to talk about mixed translation, and we're going to talk about other people's experiences that I've had from comments on YouTube, but also our Discord, which now has finally over 200 paid members. Over 200 paid members, Emrah. It's fucking crazy. It's building all the time. Okay, so the first overrated headphone is going to be one that's very close to me and Emrah's heart. And it won't be a surprise. I'm smiling already because everybody knows what it is, Emrah. Beyerdynamic, whichever way you want to say it. I have slammed Beyerdynamic for the longest time because I had them. I had a pair of DT770 Pros, and I found that they had I call it a translation bubble. Bayer, I think it's Beyerdynamic, how you say it. But I always call them bear, like a big bear, because I'm Scottish. The problem with Beyerdynamic for me, and always has been and always will be, is that they have their own sound. So even professional mixes can sound a little bit shitty on them. And I always found that when I was on Beyerdynamic, I always thought that I could mix better than the pros. So you would genuinely have your records sounding in a way where you'd be like, yeah, look, mixing's really easy. I don't even think like Serban and Spark and stuff, I don't even think that they're really that good. I actually think my mixes sound amazing. And then you put them on other systems, and all of a sudden you're like, this doesn't sound anything like how I thought it was going to sound. And then you find out that, as we've spoken about in other videos, that the Beyerdynamics have terrible drivers in them. And that's where I'm going to bring Emrah into this, because he has a bit more information about the drivers than I have. I'm just going off my own experiences. So I had DT770 Pros, terrible translation, distorted low end that I could never get right, everything that just sounded like in its own bubble. I also had a mentoring client that brought in DT990 Pros, and his mix was completely overblown. He could not hear the low end. The low end was just like going nuts on my system. The mix sounded amazing on the 1990 Pros or whatever they were, and I was like, wow, yeah, man, this mix sounds great. Put it on my Hyphen setup, put it on the speakers, and we were like, whoa, this mix is bad. But it sounded great on the Beyerdynamic. It sounded amazing. I was like, wow, mate, if you can get this to sound like that on everything else, you'd be golden. And then he ended up buying Hyphen and Nanos and then lived his best life. Emrah, talk to us quickly about your experience with Beyerdynamic, and again, some information about the drivers, just to show that we're not losing our minds.
Sure, I'm just going to hold the best Beyerdynamic headphones ever produced.
Jesus Christ. Get out, mate. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. It's giving me nightmares.
You're just a hater, bro. You're just a hater. No, literally, this is the best headphone Beyerdynamic ever produced. So, the rest. Let's talk about the rest. I was on a hype train when they released DT1990, and I just paid 550 euros and ordered a pair from musicstore.de from Germany. And they came, I plugged them in, and I was like, no. Like, literally no. Because the way they describe the scene and imaging, the details and everything, and Tesla drivers, the name is just catchy. Tesla. It's like they put some kind of incredible technology, and it's just a fucking dynamic driver. I don't know why, but Beyerdynamic keep using diffuse field target as a target on headphones, and that's ear-piercing bright. They are trying to fix this issue with their new Pro X stuff, and they are still not there. But DT9090 is the most overrated studio headphones I have ever tested.
100%.
I used them a few hours and put them on sale. And the worst part is usually you could fix issues with EQ. But somehow when I pull down that extra high end, it's like making headphones deafen, to go deaf. It feels like I just add a hi cat down to 8 kilohertz. That was terrible. And don't tell me I have to use a good pair of amps and stuff like that. I've been using good amps and stuff.
Yeah, no.
It's been 15 years.
And this is, sorry, right, to cut you off, Emrah, right, but this is a man, genuinely, that, like, if you're on our Discord, everybody always talks about that guy having the golden ears, because you could fucking nearly practically mix on anything, but he's like, no, at Beyerdynamics, no, I just don't want to mix on these whatsoever. And for beginners, again, somebody that's starting out on their journey, they're not going to make, like me, when I was on DT770s, I got used to the sound of them and thought that was correct because I'd seen them online, I'd seen them in studios, I'd seen blah, blah, blah talking about them. And like, honestly, I call it the Beyer translation bubble, and just because I'm tired even talking about them. But if we go on about the Discord, if you want to have proof and documented proof, just go on our Discord, because there are literally like tens and tens of, like, it could be like 20, 30, 40 like people on that Discord that were using Beyerdynamics and have moved on to planars, have moved on to Hyphamins and Odyssey, blah, blah, blah. Even in the comments, the amount, I've said it to somebody, it's well over 100. It's genuinely well over 100 people that I've spoken to that have been mixing on Beyerdynamic and have said that their translation, they thought their translation was good, and it was only until they moved to something else that they finally sat back and realised, wow, I was living in a translation bubble and I genuinely didn't know that what I was hearing was incorrect. If you were to, and I said this to somebody where I know 100 people might not sound a lot, if you put 100 people in a room, at that point you would be like, Jesus, even like 60 people in a house, it's like, Jesus, there's a lot of people in here. If you were to put all of these people that I've spoken to in one room, you'd be like, wow, this is a lot of engineers. So yeah, like Beyerdynamic are the ones that are completely overhyped. I've not heard many people be able to make them work professionally. And I'm talking, because many people will try and give us examples. Give us an example of somebody that can solely mix professionally and right now do a top fucking 20, 50, Billboard 100 record right now on DT770, on DT1990 Pro that mixes solely on Beyerdynamics. You will struggle because it's very hard. They don't have the headroom. They distort. You cannot get good bass out of them. Imaging, soundstage, it's just not there. For anybody saying, yeah, but they've got the Pro X, I know a very trusted distributor, somebody who I trust very highly when it comes to headphones and mixing. I asked him, should I get the Pro X in? And he said to me, Paul, the issues are still there. Yeah, it's slightly better than like what the previous models are, but as Emrah said, it's still the Beyerdynamic sound. It's still that same sound. It's like they're stuck, and many people talk online about it. It's like the engineers are like in their 80s now, and they're still like working to the same sound, and they're stuck in their old ways. That's how Beyerdynamic feels to me. And the fact that like he wasn't even interested, because again, these distributors can make money. If we change our mind on it, he was like, Paul, don't even bother. It's just a complete and utter waste of your time. So yeah, we will never, ever, ever recommend Beyerdynamic for anything else than tracking. Tracking headphones, go nuts. Great isolation, comfy. Lots of singers like to wear them. Go nuts. Honestly, I would have a pair of DT770s again for tracking. I quite enjoy them for tracking. Mixing, absolutely not. Beyerdynamic, case closed. So,
you know what?
We have done Have you got something else, Emily, you'd like to add?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to go on too long.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that these are the reason, the company behind you can't mix on headphones.
Yeah, I agree.
And these are, I'm telling you, these are the best Beyerdynamic model, 773 Pro 80 ohms. And these are the best, one of the best tracking headphones that you can use on the studio. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy. These are, durable. You can just throw them in the studio everywhere. Great build quality, German tank. Like you can use them for years. Just don't use them on professional mixing and mastering. Yep. That's what we're talking about when we say these are bad.
Now we do have, again, I'm trying to keep this relatively short because I can go quite in length when it comes to like critiquing things. So we'll move on to the next thing, and this is where we get even more controversial. Hold on. Oh, Emrah, I could feel the internet like going crazy right now. Are you ready, Emrah? Oh,
yeah, this is where I think we're gonna go a little bit separation in the ideas.
Oh, jeezy peeps. Right, okay. Yes, they're here. Yes, the Andrew Sheps, the famous Andrew Sheps, fucking MDR 750 fucking 6. Oh, Andrew, I love your mixes, man. You're a talented man, but you didn't have to create a shitstorm when you were talking about these. And by the way, for context, Andrew Sheps now mixes on Odyssey MX4s, which are £3,000 headphones, or $3,000 headphones. So yes, a stark contrast to what he was mixing on. Now, the reason that Andrew talked very highly about these is because, look, they've been used in tracking studios for decades upon decades upon decades. They are the worst, and for me, the worst built headphones I've ever tried. I hate them. I absolutely hate them on my head. And in terms of like the sound of them, every singer I've had in the studio so far doesn't like them. I mean, look, hear that? Fucking, it's just cheap plastic rattling. These bin bags that they've got, like the amount of times that I've been in studios and I've seen all of that just fall apart. The foam is thin. I've seen these fall apart over time. But it's one of these funny builds where even though it's rattling and it's thin, you could throw these about and the will still sounds pretty much the same. It's something that Andrew talked about a lot that he liked about these is that he could get, look, the durability wise, Andrew Sheps will talk about it. You'll maybe get 3-4 years out of them and then they'll kind of give up the ghost. But he said that the sound always remained the same. So he was like, look, I could go for 4 or 5 years, get another pair and they still sound the exact same. So yes, he understands the sound of these very well. But please bear in mind that Andrew Sheps is also a man that has a £70,000 PMC set up as well. Like he has very expensive taste. And like, if you think that he's just mixing solely on these, if these were enough, he wouldn't pay 70 grand for PMCs and then move, years later on to, $3 grand Odyssey headphones. But yeah, for mixing, I have a lot of issues with these. Emrah actually thinks that they're decent and they are cheap, right? So again, price to performance ratio, some would maybe argue is decent, but I hate them. I'm not gonna lie. For tracking, I hate tracking on them. They sound overly bright. They sound like a pair of NS10s to me. There's no bass in them. There's not really any air in them. I could hear distortion a lot in them. I don't really see the point in EQing them because if you EQ the sub, it doesn't really produce any sub. It's just coloured and the top end, there's no point. Like, if you do a sub boost and a top end boost, it doesn't do anything. Like, if you add air and sub, it just doesn't do anything because it doesn't really produce it. All you're doing is stressing out the headphone and making it even more distorted. For me, they sound what price they're at. And that's what frustrates me these days when people will be like, yeah, they're like 70 quid. I'm like, yeah, but so are Kiwi Ears Altruva, and Kiwi Ears Altruva are night and day difference to these. They've been overhyped because many people like the fact that they're cheap and they're affordable. I get that. But just because something's cheap and affordable and because Andrew Sheps says he could reference mixes on them, doesn't mean that you're going to fucking be the next Spike Stent or Serban Genya. Emrah, counter me. Give me a little bit of objectivity here because I hate them. I can't stand them.
I know you hate that.
Can't stand them.
To be honest, man, I don't think that they are too bad. I'm sorry. They are very good.
You did not say very good. Oh, Emrah.
Yeah. I'm just saying they are very good.
I meant it's got whiskey in it, Emrah. Jesus, God.
No. I'm just drinking soda. But let me explain. I understand it feels cheap. It feels, everything you said. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just on point for the price. You pay what you pay, and you get what you pay for.
So would you still say that, knowing we have Kiwi Ears Ultruva now? It's surely Kiwi Ears Ultruva has changed the game with these now.
No. Kiwi Ears Ultruva is different. Just
right, okay.
Don't bring it to the table. I'm just saying, 75. This version, I purchased them and tried to produce and mix on them for a few tracks, and it didn't translate good. And I felt like I should go back to my other headphones because it sounds good when I listen to them, but then translation was shit. So I couldn't make them work. I understand your frustration.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I look at the measurements from the grass, the bass is spot on, and I understand there is no much air information from 10K and up, but the way it works is just as you described, is mid-forward. But it's a little bit shouty, and I can say there's no sub from 30 Hz down. As I said, for Beyerdynamic, these are not for mixing, mastering headphones. These are for tracking. And if you're going to use these for mixing, mastering, just get Ultravas.
Yeah, I agree.
You get Ultravas for mixing, mastering, and use these. Still, you can use them. They are pretty good for live monitoring. If you are a front of house engineer or something. Everything else is bad. The comfort.
Oh, the comfort's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I don't know, man. I don't know why I keep them.
Because you're a lunatic. No. Here's the thing. I keep them for tracking because they're cheap. The only thing for me that it can be decent for is a bit of a decent picture. I think it's a bit of a decent big picture, but I just find them like NS10s, and I just find them very mid-forward. As I said, a lot of the singers don't like them. I don't give a shit who used them in the past. The people that are in my studio actually, and this is what people find funny, Emrah, the people in my studio genuinely prefer these. And these are horrible sounding fucking headphones, but so many people actually prefer this and dark closed when I give them a choice. I normally like to give singers and instrumentalists a choice, and most people always choose these. And the Sindar closed are one of the best headphones. So yeah, they're decent for tracking and stuff, but I do think that Andrew Sheps has kind of created a bit of a monster, which, at the end of the day, he's not lying. He referenced them, he knows the sound of them. But as I said earlier, what's very important to reference in context, and context is always important, is that, remember, £70,000 PMCs, and he's now mixing on fucking nearly $3,000 Odyssey LCD MX4. Look, if you take this seriously, please don't try and do a full mix solely on fucking 7506s. Get a linear, clean headphone that's got microdynamics, that's not going to crap itself out, that's giving you proper bass and proper top end, that sounds good, that's comfy, it's got a good seal. It's just, I can't personally stand them. But there you go. Life, it's objective, but I do think they're massively overly hyped, Emrah. As you said, if you're looking at a £70 pair of headphones for mixing and mastering, I don't understand why anybody would choose the 7506 over the Kiwi Ears Ultruva. Get our EQ on them. Voila. Job done. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. I'm getting myself so worked up about headphones I don't give a shit about, but there you go. Okay. So we've done two big hitters, Emrah. Two big hitters. Right. Oh, this one's going to be controversial because this is a big hitter that involves people spending quite a bit of money. Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to be controversial. Neumann. Oh, the big brand. The big German brand. Another big German brand. Neumann NDH30s. Massively overhyped. I think these are hugely overhyped. Build-wise, yeah. Good, solid. Construction. But comfort-wise, horrible. I don't know if you could see this here. See the headband? That is a bad, horrible fit for me. I think they're uncomfy headphones. It's quite a hard strap. Okay, pads are relatively softish, but for the price that they are, which I'm pretty sure is around £500 mark in the UK, and for the price, I would expect a lot better. For a lot of Chinese brands, some fucking £500 could be close to flagship for some brands. And yeah, I think this is genuinely Neumann carrying their name and trying to pretend that, as it says here, it's a studio headphone. Let's see if I can bring that in. Fucking said studio headphone on it. There's nothing about this that screams studio for me, to be honest with you. Even like the cloth on this, it's just cheap fucking shite thin cloth. The sound wise of the NDH30, I think that the imaging is pretty shit. I feel like distortion wise they're not great. The low end is really murky, like Emrah would hate. I mean, have you heard the NDH30s, Emrah?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and what was your impressions of them?
They are shit.
Love it. What did you not like about them?
From 1K and up, it's just not there. Not the way I like.
Yeah, for me, the low end is some of the worst low end I've heard in headphones. Super distorted, super murky, no bass and kick separation. Transients, fucking there's none of them. Like there's no micro details in there. The image is very crowded for me. I feel like things overlap each other a lot. And, I was listening to songs that I'd mixed that had been accepted. I was like, I can't really make heads nor tails of what's going on here. Decisions, things that I knew had to sound a certain way, just sounded smeared and veiled. There's very veiled sounding headphones. They don't have a lot of headroom. Again, the transients just aren't there. Some people like the mid-range of them because they are they're like the NS10s. Kind of. For me, the NDH30 is almost like a better version of the 7506 for me. It's better build, it's comfier, even... I don't know because I really don't like the headband. I got a hot spot with that because, as you can see, it's just a bit of shit fucking padding. And it's like, it doesn't take a lot. There's nothing there. Like that, for me, that's just digging down on my head, and you should never get a hot spot when mixing on headphones because that just ruins it. It gives me a fucking migraine at the top of my head, and there's nothing there that I could say sounds that good. Okay, the mid-range sounds decent. Vocals can maybe sound a little bit separated and give you, people can maybe feel like they're getting clarity from the vocals, but it's kind of got that MM500 thing where they increase the ear gain around 3-4K or whatever, and then they don't give you a lot of bass and they don't give you a lot of high end. There's not a lot of high end at all in the NDH30s. They're very dull sounding, and from people that are on our Discord, the amount of translation issues we've had with NDH30 users is crazy. Like we actually have quite an infamous Discord user who I think he's bought 3 or 4 Kiwi Ears Altruva because he loves them that much and they're so cheap, and he actually sold his NDH30s to get more of the Kiwi Ears Altruva in their 70s.
He sold it with a good amount of money as well.
He did, yeah.
He was like, review NDH30 before I sell them.
No, because he did get a good price for them, honestly. They keep their value quite well. Because it's Neumann. But like these, for me, these don't sound like the Neumann speakers. They sound like a pair of fucking NS10s in there. I think of all the things that you would, associate with Neumann in terms of quality, I don't think it's there. I think, comfort-wise, not very good. It's just, overall, they're just, for me, Emrah, I'd say they're like 150 quid at best. And I think that many people that talk about NDH30s have been people that use them as a secondary reference. Look, you can make nearly anything work as a secondary reference. Like if you've got a trusted primary reference, you could totally probably make these work as a secondary reference. Quick check, 5 minutes. Does it sound all right on the headphones? Yeah, I suppose that's all right. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. Mixing solely on headphones and using them as a primary source is a completely different ballgame. And I could not do that. Like the fact that they reminded me of MM500s where I just couldn't get the clarity that I was used to. I wasn't getting the separation because there was none. I wasn't getting the transients because there was none. EQ-wise, they don't take EQ very well. Honestly, give them like 3 dB low-end boost and it's just distorting. Wild Thoughts is just going crazy. That's my low-end reference track. Just completely distorted low-end. And then the top end, it's one of those where you could raise the top end to not make them sound as dull, but it doesn't take top end well. It then sounds unbalanced. And overall, they're quite difficult to EQ. Where a lot of the times, I just say to people, see if you were to get NDH30s, go with stock, don't EQ them, don't mix primarily on them, just use them like as in a vocal forward, NS10-ish, mid-rangey style tuning that you could use to check in a certain way. They're not primary headphones for mixing. They're way better. The Kiwi Ears Altruva walks all over NDH30, in my personal opinion. So please, save your money. Don't buy them. Don't buy it just for the brand. My opinion.
I have something to tell, bro. If anybody from Neumann watching this video, I'm just going to tell you, I know Sennheiser purchased Neumann, but I believe this is because Sennheiser pushing your name, the quality Neumann, we know the quality of the Neumann. It's chef kiss.
Yeah.
And they are just using your name to sell shitty product. And that's going to affect your reputation.
Yeah, I agree.
In a bad way. I'm just telling you, if Sennheiser is pushing you to do that, okay, you sold the Neumann to the Sennheiser and merging to the Sennheiser, but just don't let them use your name and squeeze the last bit of money out of it.
Yeah.
Just put your name on it and sell it as a product.
Yeah. Many people have made claims that the NDH30s are very similar to, I think, an older pair of Sennheisers. And I've spoken to other people and they've said to me, no, that's not the case, blah, blah, blah. All I'm going to say is I don't know for sure. And I'm not going to make claims that I can't substantiate.
It's Sennheiser,
fully.
bro.
I know.
It's Sennheiser who did it.
Yeah, because the thing is with me, these have the same issues that the Sennheisers have. They have the same issues in the low end. They have the same issues with the transients and the micro details. They have distorted low end. They can't take a low end boost. They sound veiled. They sound like a shittier pair of Sennheisers. They have the same issues that I hear with Sennheisers. So I can't say for sure if it is just a Sennheiser headphone with, a Neumann logo on it, but it sounds that way to me, issue-wise. Some people say, the NDH30 sound nothing like Sennheisers. No, they still sound slightly different, but the issues that I hear are the same, which is a bit of a concern for me. And that brings us to the last headphone. And by the way, right, I know I've got passionate, you know what I'm like, I've got a big mouth, right, and I like to fucking spout it a lot, right? What's very important to bring into this conversation right now is that all it takes is for one person to do an outstanding mix on these and completely prove what I'm saying to be wrong. Which can happen, and at the end of the day, it's all opinion, okay? And it's all experience, but experiences may vary. Just because Paul and Emrah say that something isn't recommended for mixing and mastering doesn't make it hard fact. It's just an experienced opinion, and that's all it is, okay? So there is a lot of subjectivity to this, but we do genuinely feel that there's been so much hype put around these products that we almost have to counter that with, as hard critique. So it's almost been like positivity. You can mix on this. And we almost feel like because we are in such a small minority on this platform, we've kind of got to hit harder. So I know it's going to sound like we're being really, really harsh and really narrow-minded, but you've got to remember that what we're dealing with is decades of people saying that they're appropriate for the task at hand. And I've said it many times, and so has Emrah, that we believe that these headphones in particular are the main reasons why headphone mixing is still viewed as something that isn't appropriate, because people aren't mixing correctly on headphones. They are wondering, why do my headphone mixes not sound as good as speakers? Why is it I get better translation results to speakers? Why is it my headphones don't translate to speakers? Because you're listening through coloured low end. You're listening to you've not got the transients. You've not got the correct imaging. there are people out there still to this day that will claim, till they're blue in the face, that you cannot mix professionally on headphones. And we genuinely believe that it's the hype of a lot of these products and people's bad experiences of mixing on these products in particular that have caused this whole misconception that you cannot mix professionally on headphones. It's just about getting the right product.
And this is the reason why one of the reasons that we created this channel, is we just want to show you that it's doable. Because somebody else's failure doesn't mean that you're going to fail as well.
Yeah, totally.
Or you just don't learn somebody else's failures, You learn from your own failures. That's the thing. You test it, but test it with the good guidance from this channel. Get good guidance, good sounding, good tonality, good transient, as you said, and then try. If you can make them work, then you can decide, it's not doable for me. But your failure doesn't mean somebody else is going to fail as well.
Correct.
So that's it.
Yeah. So I have one more headphone to talk about, and this one is more of a modern headphone. Now, I get many, many questions about this, and I was just going to leave it, but I thought, okay, it's getting hyped a lot, and it doesn't help that the CEO of the company has been kind of fighting back a little bit, which is fine. He's a great guy, okay? Very, very passionate man. So, Ollo X1 has been getting hyped a lot recently, as it's a headphone that is marketed predominantly as being a studio headphone. Now, I made a video on my own channel talking about, how studio and hi-fi is basically, they don't exist. It's the same thing. There isn't any metric that could really make something studio or hi-fi. You could use hi-fi hyphens for mixing and mastering. But as you said, you can use studio Neumann NDH30s and not get as good results. And there are certain design flaws in there that are going to impact your translation for studio usage. Now, Rock from Ollo is very, very passionate, and I appreciate that, and I do appreciate his vision for what he's got. He does want to make Ollo a brand that is essentially only for studio use. He's not really that interested in the audiophile world as far as I can see, and he made a bit of a rebuttal to one of the videos that I made on my channel talking about, hi-fi and studio, and he kind of talked about why he felt his Ollo X1 was studio, which I kind of seen certain parts of it, but for me it was all about build, and it was all about, because my headphone is like super, super, super strong, and genuinely it was like we can play football with it, and he was like kicking it about the studio in his video and stuff, and actually trying to play football with it. Which is, I suppose that's fine, but there are a lot of headphones that have got very good build quality. But at the end of the day, build quality isn't as important than translation, because that's what you get paid, that's what your bread and butter is. And my main issue with Ollo X1 is that whilst, he's got a RealPhones integration with that now, they've got their own plugin for it, and he's tried to get a tuning that for him sounds akin to studio monitors in an acoustically treated room. I just could not get the sound to translate right, and my translation was not good at all. The low end was dynamic, typical low end, where there was just mush for me down there. There was not enough transients in there. The transients for me felt like they were getting shaved off all the time. It was just like, but there just wasn't any top end transient micro detail to anything. Image wise, I just felt like, there were some elements of accurate imaging left to right, but stage, I found it fucking near impossible to judge verbs and delays. Everything felt crushed a little bit for me stage wise. It was like everything was nearly falling on top of each other, and I was listening to mixes that I was doing on, my hyphens, and I was missing the openness, and I was missing the detail that I needed to make the right decisions. What scared me with the X1 is that the X1 was saying, do this, do this, do that. And I'd listen to the hyphens and I'd be like, it doesn't need that. Why are you telling me to make that decision? It was telling me that the decisions that I was making in the hyphens weren't correct. Then I'd go, right, okay, bring it into the studio, put it on the MX4s. All those aren't right. Put it on my speakers. What is this? What are the X1s telling me to do here? Transient-wise, dynamically, everything, just my reference, they don't sound like my references. And the issue with their plugin for me is that they tried to kind of capitalize on, for me, the success of the S5X, which I think they kind of fluked it, to be honest with you. And I, again, went on record and said that I feel that the S5X is the best headphone for real phones. When I listen to the S5X on real phones, it's like a pair of speakers in front of me. Like you're challenging Slate VSX at that point for me. But there's still caveats where, again, the driver design for me could be better. And, you know, the S5X are the strangest headphones you've ever heard without any room simulation. But they were built for room simulations. So I think they sound great for that. But when he made the X1, he tried to then incorporate real phones with it. It doesn't work. It's like adding a normal pair of headphones with it. The calibration doesn't work for me. They've got a Harman slider. I tried my hardest to get the Harman slider to sit right and to get the right tuning, but I couldn't take the low end boost. It was very bright for me, stock, and it was quite fatiguing. And I was feeling I was getting, my translation would have been duller. And it was a bit like the Neumanns where I was trying to add, I think I was trying to like take away top end, but it wasn't sounding balanced. And overall, they didn't sound like a good pair of studio monitors. And this is where I found it difficult, was they kind of sounded a little bit like a pair of studio monitors, but a budget pair of studio monitors. They sounded like my Kali LP8s in the Atmos room. And if I'm going to have a pair of headphones to sound like a pair of speakers, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to choose the Kali LP8s. There's a reason why I don't mix in stereo on them. Great for Atmos, but I don't choose to mix on them in stereo. I've got Adams, I've got NTM Precisions from IK Multimedia. I've tried lots of different speakers, but a lot of the things about the LP8s that are the budget Kalis that kind of do skew your translation, I hear in the Ollo X1s. Now, many people get a little bit, you know, carried away with, you know, he's got their own calibration file. So what they'll do is they'll measure each headphone independently, and then they'll give you a cal file, and you can put that calibration file into real phones. They used to be their own plugin with the S5X. And then you can get it to what they deem is their target. But I think the problem that you've got with Ollo is that their target is straying too far away from anything that's even close to Harman. Harman's a starting point at the end of the day, but their tuning, it's like SonarWorks. Like SonarWorks' target doesn't translate well, and I don't think the Ollo one does. For others that I've spoken to, they've had the same issues. They have had translation issues with the Ollo X1. I think I've spoke to 4 other users and they were saying the same as me. I went, just translation issues. Some people may make them work. I guarantee you there will be X1 users telling me how wrong I am. But please, if you do that, please share your mixes. If you've done a mix on Ollo X1, please share your mix down below. Just say the name and people can listen to it on Spotify so they can hear it. Don't give it all that without any proof, all right? Again, it could just be a thing where they just weren't for me, but I think, you know, when you've got the quality of the planar magnetic world, the X1 is pretty expensive. It's around £600. But what I will say, to kind of end this, is that I do believe that Rock has the right intention. I do believe that he genuinely does have the passion and he has the direction for it. I just don't think that he's maybe got the right materials in place to deliver the quality that's required. I think if Ollo was to maybe go down the planar magnetic route, then he's got a really, really decent chance, because I think that the build quality is good. Comfort-wise, I don't find Ollo X1 relatively comfortable. I don't really find S5X that comfortable either, but they are sturdy. And again, I like the case that they come with and stuff, and they're nice and portable. But for me, it's frustrating because I really like the path that Rock has taken with the company, and he wants to really force a studio headphone into the market, but the end result, the sound of it just isn't translating right. So I would say, Rock, if you are watching this, and you probably will, all the best of love. Again, thank you so much for sending me the headphones to try. They weren't for me. That was a gamble. We knew that. I don't agree with the tuning. Is what it is. Is what it is. The headphones weren't for me. I do think people are overhyping them due to the fact that they are one of the only headphones that are coming out on the market that are predominantly for mixing and mastering, but I won't recommend them. I will recommend Ollo S5X for use with real phones. I think genuinely sounds like a pair of speakers in front of you. It's remarkable, but only with real phones and room simulations. So yeah, I was going to be short, but Paul Third can never do a short video. So yeah, I'm going to take a lot of shit in the comments for this. But I do believe in being open and transparent with people. And I do believe in just being at that other voice at the other end of the room. Many people will say, yeah, but so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. These headphones have been getting sold and used for decades of years. That's fine. We're just another voice in the room. We're just another opinion in the room. And that's fine, okay? If you really like these headphones that I've bashed today, then that's cool. I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to be a dick in the comments. I'll let you have your say. And that's it. We're all entitled to our opinions at the end of the day. Emrah, is there anything you would like to sign off with?
No, man, not much. You know, sometimes you get bad comments, but I can simply tell people that any name, it doesn't matter, any name, you know, industry leaders, if they think they can mix on some of the headphones that we mentioned previously, let's go online. Let's do live stream and let's see if you can mix on them. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah. And honestly, we would be happy for somebody to take us up on that, right? Genuinely, if you have a mix or you've done a live stream or whatever, you have like proof that you've mixed on these pair of headphones and you've had a really great mix out of it and it sounds great, then feel free to send us it. Especially if you're like consistently mixing on these headphones. Proof is what we're after, right? Get the proof in the pudding. This is just our opinion. Take our opinion, as always, with a pinch of salt. It's just opinions at the end of the day. But we'd like to think they're quite experienced opinions and we just want to give you the best recommendations that we can because we want to make this a reality for you. We want you watching this to be able to mix and master professionally on headphones without spending a bucket ton. You don't need to, okay? You just need the right tools and you will be amazed at how better your mixes and masters will translate over time. So, there you have it. My name is Paul Third, Emrah Celik. Thank you so much for your time and we'll see you again.
My pleasure, bro. See you.
See ya.